I love music. Classical, rock, pop, metal, rap, whatever. I'll listen to just about anything. I've even played musical instruments for most of my life. Listening to a good song can really pump you up to get you through something difficult, like beating an NES game. So I decided I wanted to compile a be-all, end-all list of the best NES bangers. And, well, I compiled it in like 10 minutes and I left a bunch of stuff off, not because I don't like it, but because you gotta have content, set aside for later videos, right? So let's get down to it. You've just made it through 2 challenging levels of Castlevania, but this game is just getting started. After beating a giant bat and a massive Medusa head, Simon is now facing down a bunch of jumping fleamen and perilous platforming, not to mention some really irritating avian wildlife. The best way a game can get you amped up for this challenge is a kickin' bass line and an infectious melody. Wicked Child is one of the best tracks in all of Castlevania. Even though it didn't get the constant remix and reuse that other tunes in the series got, it's still a friggin' banger. One of the best types of NES banger is the title screen banger. It lets you know that what you are about to play is going to be great. Well, okay, that's not always the case, but it definitely works here. Mega Man 3 is chock full of awesome tracks, and the title theme is one of the standouts. It starts off nice and slow, then builds up to a rockin' tune that sticks with you. I love the galloping beat and the traditional Mega Man boop music sound drum hit. Already back to Konami with the first stage theme from Super C. While the original Contra has a ton of really awesome tracks, this one from the second NES game sticks with me more. I think because of the impressive scope of it. You don't hear those orchestra hit notes on many NES games. On top of that, it has a great and semi-complicated melody that really stands out. The drum beat is also really complex, and I love when NES music has a whole drum kit-like sound to it. More funky beats and kick-ass bass fill the track of the final level of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. This whole soundtrack was just so masterfully done to play on the musical themes from the cartoon without outright ripping off the music from the show. Honestly, I like the NES version of this track way more than the original arcade version. It may be nostalgia talking, but I think the simpler instruments and punchier bass just sound better. Maybe that's just me, but you can't deny that this is a solid track either way. Enough about Konami. For now. What about Sunsoft? Sunsoft's licensed Batman game has some truly excellent music, but nothing beats the track from Stage 1, Streets of Desolation. Like a lot of other music on here, this has an excellent bass beat and an infectious melody, but the added reverb and the badass drum fills make it stand out from so many other good NES tracks. It's just a good song to punch people to. More Sunsoft for your ears. Journey to Celius has a bangin' soundtrack. You can't go wrong with any of the tracks on here, but the Stage 3 theme has just a great dance beat and bass line that just won't quit. I love the chord progression on the bass line right before the melody picks up halfway through the loop. It's just so bluesy and has that hint of disco to it. You may argue that other tunes in Journey to Celius rock harder, and you may be right, but this one is a personal favorite of mine. Snake's Revenge is by no means a great game, but it does carry some of that Konami musical swagger that you'd expect from their games. The opening stage theme is definitely a standout track on the roster. It rocks and has some of those orchestra hit type notes that Super C's soundtrack uses as well. A game doesn't have to be amazing to have a good soundtrack, which describes Snake's Revenge pretty well. If you don't want to play this game, I don't blame you, but at least pull up the OST on YouTube if you're a fan of 8-bit music. Ryu Hayabusa is one of the most determined ninja ever to grace the planet, mostly because he listens to this song, titled Unbreakable Determination. This track is so good that they use it during the gameplay and the end of the game. It's a perfect ninja tune for slashing enemies into ribbons. It also has a cool drum track that I love. I'm a rhythm guy, have you been able to tell yet? Bass and drums are my jam. The melody is also really good, and yeah, I don't know how to talk about music in more descriptive terms. If you grew up around the time I did, and grew up with an NES and played DuckTales, you know this track, and knew it was a banger before they even used the word banger to describe high-energy, awesome music. In fact, it may have taken you down the road of listening to video game music for fun instead of just when you play games. It definitely helped me with that. Did you know that while it was written for the game, composed by Hiroshige Tonomura, the tune was so influential and popular that it was used in the 2017 reboot of the DuckTales cartoon. It even had added lyrics. That's how big this song is. The banginest of bangers, the only track in TNC Surf Design's Wood and Water Rage. Honestly, there's really no rhyme or reason to my numbering on this list. I just wanted to write about some bangers on the NES and make a video about it. I'll likely do another one in the future, but only if the mood strikes me. What are some of your favorite NES tracks? Are there any that I did not include on this list that you would say is like the best? Also, are there any really good songs on the NES that you think are amazing but nobody else ever really talks about? Leave a comment and we'll discuss it, maybe. Later.